Vishnu is replying to Durvasa Muni. You know? So, yesterday, Lord says that I am depending upon my devotees, and like Lord Brahma and Shiva is depending upon me, and they were not able to help you. So, similarly, I am also depending upon my devotees. That was a 63 shloka. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aham Bhakta Paradhino hi Aswatantra Ivadduja Sadhuvir Grasta Hirdayo Bhakter Bhakta Janapriya. And I am depending, I am not independent, I am Paradhina, I am controlled by my devotees. And what to speak of my devotees, even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. Okay, and then next shloka 64, he says that how much are the devotees are very much affectionate towards the Lord. So, Naham Atmanam Asha se Madbhakta Sadhubhirvina Shriyam Chatyantikim Brahman Yesham Gatir Aham Para. Na, not Aham, I. Atmanam, transcendental bliss. Asha, say, desire. Mad bhakti, with my devotees. Sadhuvi, with the saintly persons. Vina, without them. Shriyam, all my six opulences. Cha, also. Atyantikim, the supreme Brahman, O Brahman. Yesham, of whom gati, destination. Aham, I am. Para, the ultimate. O best of the Brahmanas, without saintly persons, for whom I am the only destination. I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences. Who is saying? Vishnu. Lord Hari is saying that, O Brahman, Durvasa Muni, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination. So, saintly persons are who? For what kind of saintly person? For those Krishna is the only goal. Okay. So, without those kind of saintly persons for whom Krishna is the only destination, without them, Krishna is saying, without those saintly persons, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences. So that Vaikuntha opulences and all this transcendental bliss, I do not desire to enjoy without my devotees. So that much Lord loves his devotees. Okay, without Brahman, O Brahman, without the devotees, Mad Bhakta Sadhuvir Vina. Mad Bhakta Sadhuvir Vina means without my devotees. And what kind of devotees? Yesham Gatiraham Para, for whom the only destination is me. Naham Atmanam Asa, say, I do not desire to enjoy my own bliss. And Shriyam Atyantikim, by my six great qualities. The point is, without my devotees, I do not desire to enjoy my bliss and six opulences. That's what Krishna is saying. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, but to enjoy his transcendental bliss, he requires the cooperation of his devotees. In Vrindavan, for example, although Lord Krishna is full in himself, in Vrindavan, for example, although Lord Krishna is full in himself, he wants the cooperation of his devotees like the cowherd boys and the gopis to increase his transcendental bliss. Such pure devotees who can increase the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly most dear to him. Because these are those devotees who gives pleasure to Krishna. They increase the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are certainly most dear to Krishna. Not only does the Supreme Personality of Godhead enjoy the company of his devotees, but because he is unlimited, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. So Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he enjoys the Means even though he is Supreme Personality of God, it is self-sufficient Atmaram, but still he, in order to enjoy, he takes the association of his transcendental devotees, and then he experiences this transcendental pleasure and bliss. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead enjoy the company of his devotees. So not only he enjoys the company, but because he is unlimited, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. So he wants that devotees should increase unlimitedly. Thus he descends to the material world to induce the non-devotees and rebellious living entities to return home back to Godhead. He requests them to surrender unto him because, unlimited as he is, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. So that's what God Krishna is saying. Okay, because he is unlimited, so he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly, and that's why he personally comes down as incarnation and then in the material world, and then he induces the non-devotees and rebellious living entities to return home. Non-devotees who do not accept Krishna, who do not do bhakti to Krishna, and rebellious souls, rebellious living entities means like who are against, actually all are rebellious, so they are against Krishna. So Krishna is the bhokta, so but they want to become bhokta. So that's the point. So they want to become enjoy like that. So these devotees actually, so Krishna comes to induce them towards bhakti. So Krishna inspires them. So they also starts doing bhakti. Why? Because why Krishna is doing like that? Because Krishna wants that his devotees should increase, the number of devotees should increase unlimitedly. So this is the desire of Krishna. What is the desire of Krishna? That there should be many devotees unlimitedly. Okay, so in order to fulfill that desire, the Krishna consciousness movement, that is ISKCON, is an attempt. ISKCON is an attempt to increase the number of pure devotees of the Supreme Lord more and more. So our goal is not just to become some devotees, but our goal is to become pure devotees. So it is certain that a devotee who helps in this endeavor to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes indirectly a controller of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna's desire is that number of devotees should increase unlimitedly, and ISKCON is having that project. ISKCON is having this project, that preaching project. Number of devotees should increase. So that is like ISKCON is trying to fulfill the desire of Krishna. So that is why anybody who helps this project, they are definitely become very dear to Krishna, as Bhagavad Gita Krishna says that also, and they becomes the controller of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so whoever it does, like Srila Prabhupada went to West and started preaching, so Krishna personally helped him, right? So his preaching work expanded like anything, right? So although the Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, he does not feel transcendental bliss without his devotees. So Krishna you will never find alone. Okay, Krishna is always with someone. Krishna is always with his devotees. So he experiences his transcendental bliss only with his devotees. That's why even the flute, even the ornaments, they all are some devotees in the form of those paraphernalia, and they give pleasure to Krishna. An example that may be cited in this regard is that if a very rich man does not have sons in a family, he does not feel happiness. A person may be very happy, but a person may be very rich, but he does not feel happy if he don't have any son. Indeed, sometimes a rich man adopts a son to complete his happiness. Sometimes a rich man adopts a son to complete his happiness. The science of transcendental bliss is known to the pure devotee. Therefore, the pure devotee is always engaged in increasing the transcendental happiness of the Lord. Okay, so that's why the pure devotees, this science of transcendental bliss is what science? Like Krishna experiences transcendental bliss, but only with his devotees. Without his devotees, he does not feel transcendental bliss. So that means Krishna need many devotees. So the pure devotees, they understand this, and that what is the science behind it, what is the desire of Krishna. So pure devotee understand this. So therefore the pure devotees is always engaged in increasing the transcendental happiness of the Lord. How? So he always engages in preaching the world. He preaches the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. He teaches many people about Krishna consciousness, about Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So a person who has this desire to preach, why there is desire? Because he sees that other souls are suffering. So in order to that, he preaches the message of Krishna. So that one side he sees that souls are suffering in material world by threefold miseries and four problems, Janam, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. So he sees that they are suffering birth after death after birth, like many janmas. So he helps them by bringing them close to Krishna. And another side, because he brings these living entities, ignorant living entities, rebellious living entities towards Krishna, Krishna feels more happy. So he, in one side, he is bringing them close to Krishna and giving them happiness, bliss, and another side he is giving transcendental bliss to Krishna also. So Krishna is also rebellious living entities also happy, and that is why he becomes completely uh, dear to Krishna. Okay, so that's the point here. So the question is, how much are the devotees your object of affection? How much you love your devotees? That was the question. So here it is clearly understood. That how much you love your devotees. I do not desire that enjoyment without the devotees. So that much I love. Even though my nature is to enjoy, but I do not desire that enjoyment if it is without my devotees. So, more than my own bliss from my Swarupa, I desire the bliss of the Swarupa of my devotees. Though both of us have spiritual forms, Krishna and devotees, they both have a spiritual form, but the mature forms of the spiritual function called mercy exist in the bhakti within the devotee, since it is the essence of the Chit Shakti. So, though both of us have spiritual forms, but the mature forms of the spiritual function called mercy exist in the bhakti within the devotee, since it is the essence of the Chit Shakti gives. So this thing gives bliss even to my Swarupa. So the Swarupa of devotee gives bliss to the Krishna's Swarupa and attracts my Swarupa, Krishna is saying. So I eternally possess my 6 great qualities, but without the devotees, I consider these to be barren. I have these 6 opulences, but if there is no devotee, what is the use? What is the benefit of this opulences? So Krishna said, without the devotees, I consider these all 6 great opulences, qualities to be barren. I am the one object, gati, of those devotees. So for these devotees, it's not like only Krishna. Why Krishna loves them like this? Because for these devotees, Krishna is the only gati, Krishna is the only destination. So in these verses, Krishna establishes this. So he shows that the bliss he experiences in his Swarupa is secondary to realizing the bliss the devotees experiences. So thus bliss of the devotee is the essence of the Hladni Shakti. So this is the to express Krishna. Why he is saying like this? To express that how much he loves his devotees. And for devotees also, Krishna is the only destination. They do not take shelter of anyone else except Krishna. So that's why Krishna loves them. And Krishna also loves that more devotees should increase. So devotees who are doing preaching work and making more and more devotees and bringing them closer to Krishna, for them even more. Okay. Okay. 65. ये दारागार पुत्राप्त प्राणान् वित्तम इमं परम हित्वा मां शरणं यातः कथम तां त्यक्तुम उत्साहे. Ye, those devotees of mine who dara wife, agara house, putra children, sons, apta relative, society, pranan even life, vittam wealth, imam all these, param elevation to the heavenly planets or becoming one by merging into Brahman, hitva giving up all these ambitions and paraphernalia, mam unto me, sharanam shelter, yataha having taken, katham how, tan such persons, taktum to give them up, utsahi I can be enthusiastic in that way, it is not possible. So further Krishna is saying, since pure devotees give up their homes, wives, children, relatives, riches and even their lives simply to serve me without any desire for material improvement in this life or in the next, how can I give up such devotees at any time? Because these pure devotees are leaving everything for me. Then how can I leave them simply? So that's the standard Krishna is telling. How can I give up my devotees if they give up all material possessions and relationships for me? For Krishna, pure devotees leaving everything. Okay. So Krishna is saying, how can I leave them? The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by the words Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahman Hitaya Cha. Thus, he is the well-wisher of the Brahmanas. Who? Krishna. Go Brahman Hitaya Cha. Durvasa Muni was, even though Krishna is well-wisher of the Brahmanas. But what is that here? Durvasa Muni was certainly a very great Brahman, but because he was a non-devotee. So it's not necessary that all the Brahmins will be devotees of Krishna. No, it's not mandatory, it's not necessary. So even though Durvasa was a very great Brahman, but because he was a non-devotee, he could not sacrifice everything in devotional service. Great mystic yogis are actually self-interested. The proof is that when Durvasa Muni created a demon to kill Maharaj Ambarish, the king stayed fixed in his place, praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and depending solely and wholly on him. Whereas when Durvasa Muni was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra, by the supreme will of the Lord, he was so perturbed that he fled all over the world and tried to take shelter in every nook and corner of the universe. So when Ambarish Maharaj was fixed, he was not disturbed. But Durvasa Muni's life came in danger. He was so much disturbed and he was running in every nook and corner of the universe. At last, in fear of his life, he approached Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he was so interested in his own body that he wanted to kill the body of a Vaishnava. He was so much interested in his own body that he wanted to kill the body of a Vaishnava. So therefore he did not have very good intelligence. And how can an unintelligent person be delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Therefore he did not have very good intelligence, and how can an unintelligent person be delivered by the Supreme Personality? Unintelligent. Actually, highly intelligence means what? Intelligence means that he understands that service to Krishna is the ultimate thing for human life. Okay, and that's why he is intelligent. And he does that service as per the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So Shastra says that in Kali Yuga, service to Krishna or Yajna is Sankirtan Yajna. So he does that. That's why it's called Sumedsa, Yajantihi Sumed. Kalau Sankirtana, Yajna Sankirtana Pray, Yajantihi Sumedsa. Who will do Sankirtan Yajna? Who are Sumedsa, who are very intelligent. So Krishna does not deliver the unintelligent person. Okay, so here is mentioned he was so interested in his own body that he wanted to kill the body of a Vaishnava. Therefore, he did not have very good intelligence. Because for why here it is proven that he is not having good intelligence, because for his own body he is killing the body of a Vaishnava. So that's why he is not very good intelligent. And how can an unintelligent person be delivered by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The Lord certainly tries to give all protection to his devotees who have given up everything for the sake of serving him. So Lord definitely protects all his devotees, and devotees who have given up everything for the sake of serving Krishna. Everything is left. Another point in this verse is that the attachment to Dara, Gar, Putrapt, home, wife, children, friendship, society, and love is not the way to achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one is attached to home, wife, children, friendship, society, and love, then they will not get favor of Krishna. One who is attached to hearth and home for material pleasure cannot become a pure devotee, because this material desire will be always there. And with the material desire, how can you become pure devotees? So sometimes a pure devotee may have a habit or attraction for wife. Very difficult. Sometimes a pure devotee may have a habit or attraction for wife, children, and home, but at the same time want to serve the Supreme Lord to the best of his ability. Okay? So he may. So it's not like that pure devotee will not have wife, children. They will have. But same time they will serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they will engage all their home, money, wealth, car, or their children, family members, everybody, they will engage their wife, they will engage in the service of Krishna. For such a devotee, the Lord makes a special arrangement to take away the objects of his false attachment and thus free from him attachment. So Lord makes a special arrangement here, Prabhupada is saying. What arrangement? To take away the objects of his false attachment. Where he is attached, Krishna will take away those objects, and in this way thus free him from attachment to wife, home, children, friends, and so on. So Krishna will take away all those attachment, and in this way Krishna will make him free from this attachment. Because when the object itself will not be there, then after some time the attachment will be gone. So this is a special mercy bestowed upon the devotee to bring him back home, back to Godhead. So special devotees will get such mercy that Krishna will take away that object where they are attached. Okay. So there's the point here that you are affectionate to Brahmanas, therefore do not ignore me, I am a Brahman. Durvasa Muni may say like this, I am a Brahman, and you are attached to Brahman, you love Brahmanas, you have said that you will protect Brahmanas, so I am Brahmana, so don't ignore me, please do not ignore me. So that is true, but how can I ignore the devotees? Krishna will say, okay, that's true that you are a Brahman, but how can I ignore my devotees? So I will have to give them up. See, among all, Krishna protects Brahmins. But when it comes to in between Brahmins and Vaishnavas, Krishna protects Vaishnavas. So I will have to give them up automatically if I protect you who offended the devotees. Krishna is saying, if I protect you, that means I have to give up my devotees, and you are offending my devotees. So how can I give up my devotees and protect you? So that is expressed in this verse. For me, the devotees have given up attachment to wife and children, object of affection, which are very, very difficult to give up. For me, the devotees have given up attachment to wife and children, objects of affection, difficult to give up. For me, they have given up all these things. What have you, a Brahmana, given up? My devotees have given up everything for me. But what you have given up? Please tell me. You cannot say that Ambarish did not give up anything. Okay. When you engaged the demon to kill him, he did not move a step, since he did not consider his body important. That's the point. So Durvasa Muni may say, what Ambarish Maharaj has given up? Nothing. He lives in home, family, everything is there. King, he is a king. But Krishna is saying, here is proven that Krishna is saying that when you engage, when you engaged the demon to kill Ambrish Maharaj, Ambrish Maharaj did not move even a single step. Why? Because he did not consider his body important. But you who prayed to Brahma and Shiva for protection, ran all over the universe to protect your body, though you are an with the complete detachment, I know the true value of him and you. What else should I tell you, such a fool? Okay, so he's saying, you see, he was attacked by demon, he did not move, but you are running everywhere. That means you are attached to your body like that. You know? So I know, Krishna is saying, I know the true value of my devotee Ambrish Maharaj, and I know value of you also. So I know whom to protect and whom not to protect. Okay, so Krishna is very strict in this case. Okay, so the point is that Krishna is saying that my devotees, I will always protect them and I will not tolerate, even though this is a Brahmana, but I will not tolerate. Yes? Okay, so Krishna loves his devotees, that is proven here, and he, in any case, Krishna will not accept the offense done towards the devotees. Okay. Okay. So here in the in connection to this shloka, there is one more verse in the 7th canto, 13th shloka of 14th chapter. क्रमिविड भस्म निष्ठान्तं क्वेदं तुच्छं कलेवरं क्व तदीय रतिर्भार्या क्वायमात्म नभश्यदिः. Through proper deliberation, one should give up attraction to his wife's body, because that body will ultimately be transformed into small insects, stool or ashes. These are the three destinations. Okay, so what is the value of this insignificant? How much greater is the Supreme Being who is all pervading like the sky? Because the point is said here that in compared to the value of Supreme Lord and this material thing, if we compare, then this material thing has no value at all. Okay. So that's the point. Okay, and similarly there is one more verse which is there, which talks about that how one should give up this attachment for wife, home and all those things. That is 42nd shloka. Sorry, 43 and 44 shloka of 14th chapter from 5th canto. So here, while in the prime of life, the great Maharaj Bharat gave up everything because he was fond of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uttam shloka. He gave up his beautiful wife, nice children, great friends, and an enormous empire. Although these things were very difficult to give up, Maharaj Bharat was so exalted that he gave them up just as one gives up a stool after evacuating. Such was the greatness of his majesty. So these are the great example given in Bhagavatam. And just as one gives up a stool after evacuating in the morning, no one thinks about it. Oh, I lost something. And they feel, after evacuation, they feel very released. Oh, okay, stomach is clean now. They feel very happy, released. So that is the comparison given. The Maharaj Bharat was so exalted that he gave them up this what? Beautiful wife, nice children, great friends, and a big empire, full. He gave up like people give up the stool in the morning. And then further it is said that Shukdev Goswami says that, my dear king, the activities of Bharat Maharaj are so wonderful. He gave up everything difficult for others to give up. It's many, these things are very difficult to give up, but Bharat Maharaj very easily gave up. He gave up his kingdom, his wife and his family. His opulences was so great that even the demigods envied it, yet he gave it up. Even demigods were feeling envy towards Maharaj Bharat by seeing his opulences, but he gave up everything. It was quite befitting a great personality like him to be a great devotee. He could renounce everything because he was so attracted to the beauty, opulence, reputation, knowledge, strength, and renunciation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So that's the point actually, that one cannot simply give up anything. One has, in order to give up something, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that in order to give up something, you need to get a higher taste. So if I am not getting a higher taste, I cannot give up the lower taste. And sometimes I have no information about higher taste. So I think this is only the higher taste. So the association of wife, women, children, all this home, money, car, so this only feels very great happiness, because I don't have any experience or information about another level of happiness, which is spiritual happiness. So when Vedic scriptures or Sadguru, when Guru Maharaj tells us that there is another level of experience, like Krishna says, there is another world, there is another transcendental world, where Anandi, only Ananda is there. Krishna explains about that world, that Na Shashanko Na Pavaka, there is no need of moon, and whoever goes there, they don't come back. There is my superior nature. Many things Krishna says about the spiritual world. So that we learn from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, and then it may look only theory. But when we see other devotees experiencing the same thing which is explained in the Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, then we see, oh, this person, no money, no wife, no children, but still he is so happy. What is that? Means what is he having? So that makes one person to believe more, because he now saw some practical example. Because otherwise somebody says, okay, Bharat Maharaj might have done, but now this is not the age for Bharat Maharaj. Who can do this? It's all mythology. That's why whole internet is filled with Hindu mythology word. That word comes there. Who can do that? So when they see, oh, now, even now, present in front of me, the same person is doing, he is also having same life what he is doing. And same person, he's working in offices, but he's not at all attached to his wife, children, home, and he's only attached to Krishna. And he made all his family members also attached to Krishna. So he said, oh, is it? It is possible. The concept of Bhagavatam are possible to practice. That's why even sometime, even though like Prabhupada made the system of brahmacharis and grihastha and all in ISKCON also. So it's not like even Mahaprabhu's movement or like present days, if people are grihasthas, they can do better preaching. It seems like that. In some situations, grihasthas can go very nicely. In some situations, brahmacharis. But one aspect is here that brahmacharis are necessary. Why? Because there should be some example. They can show, see, there are still some people who can renounce everything. So for that purpose, brahmacharis are, if they are there, it is so nice in order to preach. So they can, because when they say, so everything he gave up, this king gave up everything, this king gave up everything. So is there any practical example now in the present age? Yes. See, this person, he was doing this government job, such a high level job, this private job, or this much. But he gave up everything and he came, and he was so handsome. Many proposals were there, but still he renounced everything, and he was having so much property, or he was so famous, he was a very good singer, he was anything can be there, but so he left everything. So that's the practical thing is there. So, but how he will get that? Unless until he gets a higher taste, he will not be able to give up everything. The attachment to wife, children, home, material opulences, name, fame, he cannot give up unless until he gets the higher taste. That's why he has to be attached to the 6 opulences of Krishna at least. Great beauty of Krishna, opulences, reputation, knowledge, strength and renunciation. Sadashwarya Purna Bhagavan, he should be attached to that Bhagavan's Krishna. So when he is attached, then he can easily give up. Then he can. That's why ISKCON temple they give nice Mahaprasadam to devotees. So at least he will be attached to one thing at least. So he will come for that. And when he is attached to Mahaprasad, then he can easily give up other eating habits. And in this way he will pure devotion, purity. So that's very important point. Even this eating thing is very important, and because people in initial days they ask like, why you people are too much about rules are there about eating this, that, or so many things. But if a person practices, there's something can be explained, but something you have to experience only. Then you will get more faith and more this thing, conviction. So when you like 1 year, 2 year or 3 year, you are only taking prasadam and very nicely cooked with very nice consciousness. The cook, the person who cooks the food, he is having very nice chetana, consciousness, and always very devoted to Krishna. That devotee cooks and offers, and you get that prasadam. So, like suppose 1 year you are taking that prasadam, and then somehow you have to go to some other situation somewhere where you may not get that kind of pure system or things, and you have to adjust the situation somehow. Then one person will understand, oh, there is a difference in the food also. Even though both are without onion garlic, without a non-veg and all these things, but there is a difference. And how we will understand that difference? In our consciousness. Externally, I may very nicely, very pure, we may look neat and clean, but internal consciousness will change. When the food will change, the internal consciousness will change. The consciousness of the cook and the food prepared and impurities, all those things will go inside and they will corrupt the mind, and the bad thoughts may come sometime. People may get irritation, agitation, all those things. That kind of thing will happen. Then you'll understand, oh, because of such food or such association. So these things matters. But one cannot understand initial days because he's not getting that experience. Because if a wall, white paint is there, very clean. If a wall you have seen fully dirty, so many spots and paint and dirty things are spread all over the full wall. And if you go there and you also throw some, or you spit on that, or some red color you throw little bit or more, it doesn't make much difference. Anyway, it was full dirty and you also put something, doesn't make much difference. But if it is just a neat and clean, or you just cleaned everything on the wall and you made it very nice, clean, and then if somebody comes and spits or throws some dirty thing, it is easily visible that, oh, somebody did something. Then you can understand, oh, there is a difference. Earlier that was not the difference. Or you just start cleaning, half you just cleaned, then itself you will, in there also you will have little experience that now some dirty thing is coming into the wall. But when it is fully dirty, it doesn't matter. So these things matters. Food and association and all, what we hear, what we speak, these things matters. That's why the best situation is always remain among with the like-minded devotees and practice nicely. Then one can be one can be very easily attached to the six opulences of Krishna. So very easily he will attach. And when he is attached to the six opulences of Krishna, the glories, the name, fame of Krishna, then ultimately he will leave the dirty things. You know? He won't have any taste for those things. So Krishna is so attractive that one can give up all desirable things for his sake. So if I am not able to give up still those material things, that means I am not attached to Krishna. I have not got that love for Krishna, that attachment for Krishna. Because if I have that, I may be watching sometimes some Krishna bhajan or all those, so there may be little attachment sometimes. But if these material desires are not going, or I have still attachment, then I have not developed enough attachment for Krishna's glories or Krishna's pastime or qualities. Because when that is developed, automatically the lower taste will go. Okay. So Krishna is so attractive that one can give up all desirable things for Krishna's sake. Yeah. So that's why many devotees, when they say, oh, prasadam, they got so attached to Mahaprasad that they easily give up other things, because they think if I need to take Mahaprasad, I have to leave all these things. Okay. So during Prabhupada time, one devotee was there. So new devotee, so he used to steal Mahaprasad. Like the main plate of Rajbhog, when it comes after offering, so many sweet and fried items are there, pakodas and kachodis and samosas and gulab jamuns and sandesh and ras malai and rabdi and different types of sabji, paneer masala, sahi paneer, many type of puris, green, red and all kinds of, and milk preparations and motichur ka laddu, and so many items will be there. So this devotee used to steal from that plate and he will go and hide somewhere and eat. So some devotees noticed, the kitchen in charge noticed, the puja in charge noticed that he's doing. So they went and they complained to Srila Prabhupada that this devotee is stealing Mahaprasad. All the nice item he will steal. So Prabhupada said, okay, call him. So send to me. So Prabhupada, they told that Prabhupada is calling you to meet personally. So when he heard that Prabhupada is calling to meet me personally, that means somebody complained and today Prabhupada will scold. So he came very afraid. And then Prabhupada said, so you steal Mahaprasad? So he was a new person, joined, but a good person. He honestly said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, okay. So he steal in such a way so that nobody knows. Because he said, Prabhupada said, why you steal Mahaprasad? He said, because Prabhupada, when I was eating non-veg so much, and I liked that taste so much. So when I doesn't eat these nice items, I get desire to eat there. So he's attached to this thing, so that he can easily ignore. So Rupa said, okay. So he said, okay, so steal in such a way so that nobody knows that you are stealing. Okay. So and somebody in another case, one Maharaj, somebody complained that this devotee is stealing Mahaprasad and he likes so much Mahaprasad, he eats too much Mahaprasad. So this much eating is not good and like that. So that anyway, that Maharaj said that anyway is new, and good thing is that he is at least attached to one thing of Krishna, and at least attached to Mahaprasad, no? So at least attached to one thing, so that's also glorious. So when a person is attached to not if all six, but at least one quality or some way or other, if attracted to Krishna, that is good. So when one is attached to Krishna, he can easily give up the material things. But if he is not attached, he cannot give up. He may give up for some time, but again he may be um, called by those desires, like that. So indeed, even liberation is considered insignificant for those whose minds are attracted to the loving service of the Lord. Wow. So even liberation is no value for devotees who are, because liberation here means like going and merging into Brahman or staying in Brahma Jyoti, like that. So that is the point. So they don't like that because they are attracted to the transcendental beauty and pastime and glories of Krishna and the service to Krishna. They are deriving the transcendental pleasure while doing service of Krishna. So why they'll go to in Brahman and stay there and no activity and no reciprocation with the Lord and with other devotees. So why they will like that? They don't like that. So they like to serve. So if they pure devotees, if they get service even in the hell, then they are happy. But they want to serve Krishna. They want to be in the association of devotees and they want to be serving. They want to serve Krishna because they are too much attached. Because when they are attached to Krishna and Krishna's association, if they are getting, then what is the point of being in hell or heaven? It's all same, because Krishna is there, they are getting service to Krishna, they are serving Krishna, Krishna is becoming happy by their service, reciprocation is happening, they are enjoying, and by serving he is deriving transcendental bliss. So it's no more hell then. Okay. So that's the point. So in this sloka, that's why here it is said that since pure devotees, Krishna is saying that since pure devotees give up their homes, wives, children, relatives, riches and even their lives simply to serve me, okay, without any desire for material improvement in this life or in the next. How can I give up such devotees at any time? Because Durvasa Munis may say that, you said I am Brahman Hitaja, you are well-wisher of Brahmana. So okay, Brahmana okay, but what about here, my devotees? So you are not able to give up, but he gave up everything for me. How can I not protect him? How can I give up such devotees at any time? Okay. How can I give up my devotees if they give up all material possessions and relationship for me? Right? Krishna is so pleased when person gives up material things, vairagya, renunciation. And even as we are the follower of Lord Mahaprabhu, Lord Bhagavan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also loves people who are detached. Gaurangera Bhaktajana Vairagya Priya, something like that it's said somewhere. Vairagya Priya, detached people, they Mahaprabhu like. I told once the story of I think Sanatana Goswami who was having a new blanket, and then Mahaprabhu looked at him, but he understood that Mahaprabhu did not like, I think, this new blanket. Then he went to the bank of Ganges and he begged a beggar, please help me. Beggar was saying, oh my God. Today is the first day when I also can feel that somebody is coming to me for help, because I could never help anyone. I was always asking for help, but today you are asking help from me. Wow, so nice. Tell me what can I do for you? He said, just give me this your old blanket and take me this new one. Because such kind of help is so nice. Please take. So then he put the old blanket and he just covered, and then Mahaprabhu saw him, then he smiled, he was so happy. So this kind of detached personalities can progress very fast. So it is understood like that boat, if one is driving the boat very fast, but he has not released the anchor, or it is tied on the bank with some tree or something, then how much we progress and how much we try to progress and put effort, but because the rope is tied there, the boat will not move. So that is the material attachment. So you have to cut the material attachment, then it will go, right? Or like too much, that is very difficult for people like me. Too much bhakti, very pure, very high level sadhana, that automatically all the attachment is finished. It's very rare. So, if a person parallelly tries to cut down the material things and attachment and tries to progress in bhakti and does sadhana, he can progress very fast. Both Vyasa Prabhupada said follow four regular principles and follow these things like chanting and reading and association. So, four things to do and four things not to do. Like that. Okay, so that was a verse, very nice shlokas here. First of all, that the context is so nice, and second thing is that we are, by reading these verses, we may understand, of course, through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we may understand that how much Krishna loves devotees. So that may, somewhere or other, that may inspire the materially contaminated heart to do some bhakti and stop sinful activities, material activities, by seeing that oh, such a person is also there who loves like that. Shukdev Goswami, of course, not from that point of view, because he is anyway elevated or eternal associate of Lord, but as the Leela manifests, like when he was a Brahmavadi, but when he heard the glories of Krishna, that two verses, Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam, like the glories, the beauty of Krishna and the merciful nature of Krishna, when he heard, he said, oh my God, there is some personality like that. Then his love developed. So these verses gives that faith and that opportunity, chance to develop that love for Krishna. So these are the glories of Srila Prabhupada, that he is making things available for people, ignorant people like me. Otherwise, the people like me will be rotting in somewhere in the world. So this is the thing that we can understand. And another thing is that we also understand the nature, and another thing, that this is directly spoken by Lord himself. These are the verses. It's not like some other one is someone else is saying. Directly Krishna himself is saying that I am like this. Sometimes people will say, okay, he said like this. Of course, the pure devotee's words are always true, and right. But an ignorant person will say, no, how can I believe this devotee only saying? I don't believe. He's also human, na. Sometimes modern people will say, anyway, Vyasdeva only wrote, na. He might have wrote his own idea. How can I believe? Because he don't know that Vyasdeva also one of the incarnation of Krishna. But they may say like that. So here it's not like that. It's directly Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. And what Sri Bhagavan Uvacha? What did he say? Aham Bhakta Paradhina. So these are the different aspects which gives us our a hope or a impetus within, that we must try our best to progress in bhakti, and our best effort we must do, and but not claim that no, I did all this thing best, so Krishna is, you must bless me. Well, Krishna is not forced. Krishna is, he may do something causelessly. But I cannot say that I did everything pakka, so you are forced to bless me. You are forced me to take in back home, back to God. No. So I will do my best effort, and I will depend on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. That's the idea. Anyway, so these kind of verses are very important and very much hope giving, and expressing the loving, merciful nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because sometimes people may see God means maybe very horrible person, because he always punishes the people for his, so he is always very cruel person. He is giving such kind of punishment to the people. Oh, very cruel God is. No. God is very loving person, very attractive person, very merciful, compassionate person. No? So these verses reveals, and that is another, that is the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj and the other Vaishnavas, that they are making this thing available to us. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Amrish Maharaj ki jai, Anant Kodi Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Hare Krishna. So 64 we shall do tomorrow. Sorry, 66 we shall do tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so next some other analogy Krishna will give, that how this is Krishna is under the control of devotees. Okay, so is there any question you can ask? Otherwise, we can drop. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kindly, I may request devotees. Anyway, 2-3 devotees are there. If you want to give some feedback, then also you can say. Hare Krishna.